Here's the thing about ADHD. It doesn't just make you different, okay? It makes you see the world in ways most people can't. And yet, for so long, we're told to shrink ourselves, to follow rules that don't even make sense. It really doesn't make sense for how we're wired. And to be honest, I'm finished with that. I'm done doing that. Here's what I've learned after years of trying to play by the rules. Doing whatever the fuck I want definitely hasn't ruined any opportunities. It's actually created them. And for years, people will tell, oh my gosh, so many people told me, do it this way, change your accent, change the way you dress, change your hair. Funny thing is, when I moved from New York to come to Atlanta, I have naturally curly hair, and people just always said, to straighten my hair because I look more professional. Guess what? The racist people were still going to be racist, whether my hair was straight, blonde, stringy. I'm just saying, no matter how my hair was, if you were racist, you're going to be racist. And I spent so much time like downplaying so many things about myself, for nothing, And so we are taught that living authentically and being ourselves, especially with ADHD, it means chaos and failure, missed opportunities. But if you want to be honest, the world isn't really built for people with ADHD, So it's like, why keep playing a game designed for someone else? Once I stopped apologizing for how I think, where I work, how I live, where I live, everything just clicked. People started noticing. I started succeeding. Not in spite of doing it my way, but because of it. These are some things that work for me. I feel like if you trust your instincts, ADHD brains know where the magic is. Like, disconnect from society and disconnect from social media and disconnect from your friends and your family sometimes. I'm not saying for long extended periods of time, but I didn't know how. So there's this one time where I turned off my cell phone and I got a house phone instead. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted to be able to still speak to my people, emergency happened. I still wanted to be able to talk to people, but on my own time, just to do my check-ins with my friends and my family and just do little quick check-ins. But I did not want to speak to people just whenever. And so I started working at a new job. I met some coworkers and everybody's like, oh, give me a number. And then they would say things like, oh, I called you. Well, I just texted you. This is not text. That's my house phone. You got a house phone? Yes, absolutely, I do. And I was a little bit younger then, so I wasn't as free to say the things and feel the things that I feel now. I know that I needed it. I wasn't really in tune with how different that I was. I just knew it felt really, really good. And I did that for a year. The only reason I went back to getting a phone is, and I was working from home at the time, and then I worked in the evenings. I picked up like a side job. Those are the coworkers that I met. But I just didn't really like for my kids to not be able to get in contact with me when they needed me, So that's the only reason I got the phone. But you can't have a phone and not give, in this society, you can't have a cell phone and not give it to your loved ones, or I'm still going to take it personal. Everybody's doing the same thing. But it wasn't personal. Like, I love them. I love spending time with them. I just didn't want to have to answer every text. I just didn't want to have to pick up the phone. And if I don't pick up the phone, it's like, I have my cell phone with me. So that I ignored it. It was just too much pressure. And so that's one thing that I feel like people should do is just trust your gut. Just do what's right for you, what feels right for you. Because it's more than likely, not more than likely, it is different. It's different from the way most people feel. So do what feels right to you. Trust your instincts. Forget the rules. They don't apply to people who are building their own lane. You are doing something different. Your brain is wired differently than most people. So when everyone else is leaning into the big social circles and being around a lot of people and picking up on all this energy, and you want to fall back, don't feel guilty about it. I do believe in that networking is important. I do feel like reciprocation is important. So if someone shows up to your event, this is my thing. I personally believe in showing up to their event. If someone supports you and you don't feel like going, but they always show up for you, I would say do something that you don't feel like doing. That's just my thing, right? But I don't think if you don't like big parties that you should have to go to big parties all the time. I think you should, Show up for your friends, stay an hour, get a plate, mix and mingle, or not. Maybe sit in the corner. If you're gonna be antisocial and just like weird about it, just don't go, in my opinion. Right? But just try to show up for your friends, but don't stay all day. Just show up, show support. If they're having a party, bring a gift, give hugs and whatever. If you see anybody else, say hi to them and then head back home. You don't have to be the party animal if that's not what you do. You don't have to. I remember for a long time, my friends were like going out to like every New Year's. I wanted to be with my children. I didn't really want to go to a party, and I think one year I did go to a party, and I was just like, I wish I was home with my kids. And so I just had to do things that felt right for me. Even if the tradition on Thanksgiving, my family loves the stuffing and all of it. I don't like that stuff anymore. So I started making dishes that were better for me. And the thing is, everybody eats the things that I prepare. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but nobody's really eating the old fashioned way of doing things. And I tried to get everybody on board, but sometimes that doesn't work because people like things traditional and like how they like it. And I like traditional too. Like it's fun, it's special, but I believe in adding a little flair to it. I think it's important to like yourself, love yourself. It makes everything fall into place. A lot of people will misunderstand you, mislabel you. They might even hate you. But that's their problem. Most people don't even think past their own limited perspective. If you've got ADHD, you're already playing on expert mode. And that's not something to hide or fix. It's something to own. Stop apologizing. Stop shrinking. Do what feels right for you. ADHD and all. All right? Trust me, the world needs you. The world needs you to be authentic. I had a hard time doing that because I know that some of the things that I do are different. But that's why I decided that I wanted to share what ADHD is like and talk about it. A lot of times when people talk about the experience, as far as I've seen, a lot of people talk about it in a very medical psychology terms. I just like to talk about it in my own experience. And I may not be perfecting it because I'm just now realizing, I never looked into it before. Like I've gotten this far in life and I always knew I was different, but I didn't know that there was a reason, if that makes sense. So if you can relate, you can relate. If you know, right? So just do what feels right to you. The world needs to see the authentic side of you. They need to see all those little quirks. And let me tell you, all the little things that I did that everybody thought was so strange, or they're like, why don't you guys actually have a phone? Or you don't have TV, or you don't watch this show, or I've just never been one, I've just never been one to follow the crowd. I just didn't like it. I just didn't like what that felt like. I never really got Jordans in high school, right? Because I grew up in Queens, grew up in New York. Never really wanted Jordans because when Jordans came out, I'm an 80s baby. So I grew up and went to school in the 90s, in the late 80s and the 90s. And when Jordans came out, because Jordan was big during my high school year, everybody had the same pair of sneakers on. Every single person on the bus the next day, because we took public transportation. I mean, I got dropped off to school a lot, but when I didn't, I took the bus. And every other person, like I'm not even exaggerating. Somebody let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. Every other person had Jordans on, and I'm like, okay, some of them are cute. Some of them I just didn't like the design, but some of them were cute. I just could not be that girl who had the same sneakers on as everybody else. I just couldn't do it. Like, even if I liked it, I go in the store and I get ready. And I'm like, nah, nope. And I would get it. If I got it, which I did get them a few times, but I got them in a different color like a unique color that I didn't see anybody else have. I would do that. Or, yeah, I mostly just didn't get them. I mostly just did not get them. They would drop every year. And a new one would come out and then it would come back out. And I just couldn't do it. Still to this day, like, the dunks, I know those became popular. Like, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. Anyway, my point is, I just want to spread the word for other people like myself who are just learning about ADHD. It's calming to know and to accept that you just think differently than everybody else, and that is a-okay. Actually, this is funny, but I actually love it. I love how unique and creative my mind works. Love it. So embrace it, y'all. Embrace it. And, you're not like everybody else. You get to be authentically you. I don't ever get bored. I know a lot of people, even since I was a kid, people are like, I'm bored. I'm like, bored. My mind is having such a fun time. I don't know what's going on, but my mind, even when I'm just sitting still, I don't know, my mind is just imagining something. Like my mind is just actively going. And so I don't get bored. I never have. And I'm always inquisitive. I can read a book. I can read a label. Whatever it is, like my mind just works different. I love that about myself. And I'm glad that there's so much knowledge out here now because people don't have to feel isolated anymore. People don't have to wonder why they don't fit into groups. You were not made to fit into those groups. It's a good thing. That is a good thing. Learn to embrace it. And that's what I'm here for. I am wanting to share my journey with y'all so that you can recognize that what you have is a beautiful thing. Now, there comes the struggles. We're not going to talk about the struggles in this video. Make sure that you are connecting with me, like, subscribe, comment, and do all the things if you are ready to live authentically and embrace your differences. And we'll talk about the struggles in another video at another time, and we will learn how to manage it because that's what's most important, managing your differences, because some of them are not so great. The procrastination, the daydreaming, not being able to focus, those are some of the things that we may have difficulty doing. And those are the things that we'll talk more about, and we will share tips with each other. I'd love for you to leave as many, tips and comments so we can all grow together and be able to manage this and forget everybody else. Like, let them be quote unquote normal, right? I think we're all normal, whatever normal is. We're normal for ourselves, right? But like people like to say, I don't like to say that. I don't even know what is normal, So I don't like to say that, but just for lack of a better word, like let everybody else do their thing and we will do us. And we will love every minute of it. All right. So I will see y'all next time. I cannot wait. Make sure you subscribe so you can see my next video.